All right, so we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Woodland Pools and to another Cardano Q&A live stream. So here we are. We got a bunch of things to go over today. So yeah, as always, if you are joining us live, let us know where you're joining from and any questions that you have. And in between these different topics, we'll get to them. If you're watching on the replay, if you have any questions about what we went over today, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll be adding chapters down below and timestamps for all the different things that we're going to go over. Q&A live stream. So perfect. So that's working. All right. So here's what we're going to take a look at today. Lace is now open sourced. Some scary announcements here going on with the Atomic Wallet. There is some conversation going on around meme coins and bots and things. You probably heard about that. We will dig into that. We'll take a look at the results of the Cardano Foundation poll and what the next steps are for that as well. And then also there's some exciting news with Book.io and a mint going on tomorrow that we will dig into as well. So for those out there that are in the OG Book Club, we'll have a little bit of a chat about that as well. So sweet. Cool. Let's go ahead and get started. So with that, first on the list is, let me turn this off. Lace is now open source. So we've covered Lace on the channel before in the past. Lace is IOG's light wallet. This is a pretty cool product they're putting together because the idea, as we mentioned in other videos and live streams and things, is that they are using it as their opportunity to be able to showcase the different features and functionality of the blockchain in their own light wallet and be able to show things like, so I think the big ones we're going to look for is, for example, partial delegation and then Mithril for light wallet snapshots. We can see here, a lot of people have been asking about, with different wallets, about closed source versus open source. A lot of this came back up again with the recent stuff that was being talked about with Ledger. But so now they went ahead and finally open sourced this. They've been saying for a while they were going to. So if you want to take a look at the actual code that is running behind your Lace wallet, you can now do so. And then obviously, again, all of these links that I'm going to go through, I'm going to share them all in the description as soon as we wrap up. So props to the Lace team. They've been talking for a while about how they were going to open source. So good on them to actually having that open sourced. Sweet. Next. Hello, Mark from Sydney. Is it not so sunny? It is storming so nasty out here today. It like usually doesn't storm in warm sunny Colorado, and we are getting some pretty nasty lightning. So yes, hello from Sydney. I appreciate you always joining. I always ask and I always forget, what time is it over there right now? I appreciate you always joining at some totally different. I have no idea what time it is over there. Okay, so next, what I want to talk about is this here. So the Atomic Wallet. So this was first brought to my attention. I saw a tweet from Smog. Smog is actually the person who he's anonymous, but he runs and puts together Pool.pm. So if you're a fan of Pool.pm, it's Smog that actually does this. And so anyway, so he tweeted out that there is a hack going on with the Atomic Wallet. And then after this, of course, you know, we all probably started seeing these Zach XBT tweets about it. But yeah, so for those of you that might be using Atomic Wallet, there was a hack on this software wallet, and he shared some information here about it. But let's take a look at the Zach XBT tweet where he was digging into it on chain about what's actually going on. Zach XBT, if you guys don't know and don't follow him, he's a really good, here's a good description, an on-chain sleuth. He does a really good job of using on-chain analysis and putting together histories of transactions and things when people do rug pulls or scams or things like that. So he was digging into this. He first retweeted the information from the Atomic Wallet itself. But we can see here, there was one update that I wanted to show here. This is as of a couple of days ago, or yesterday, 2 days ago. The largest hack that happened to a single person is because as a result of this is $3.5 million. And the 5 biggest total is over $10 million. Oh, here we go. Sorry. This is the one I wanted to show you. The biggest one was up to almost $8 million in USDT stolen, and now almost 35 million or more than 35 million total as a result of this hack. You can dig into this thread here if you want to see exactly how it happened. But at the end of the day, with this kind of thing, and this is sort of a similar theme for the next thing that we're about to discuss, to a certain degree, the details of how this hack came together kind of doesn't matter. There's a few things in terms of like your online and especially your crypto security hygiene that you want to keep in mind, like things like never clicking on links you don't know, never sharing your seed phrase. This is obviously more sophisticated than that, but one of the things that I think is a really good advocate for, once again, is to not have any large amounts of money on software wallets. Like, guys, I don't know how many times we need to have examples of these things, but like you need to get either a Ledger or a Trezor. If you want, there are links down below in our description. If not, go straight to their website if you don't want to use our affiliate links. But I think I feel very strongly that I feel like everybody should have one or the other. I know some people are upset with Ledger lately because of the whole thing that we covered at length now about their Ledger Restore that they rolled back and now they're going to roll out at some point in the future. At the same time, the Trezor's not perfect either, as we've discussed, where if somebody has physical access to it and they are technically savvy enough, they could potentially crack into that as well. But at the end of the day, either of these two options is going to be significantly better and more secure than any of the software wallets out there. Because if you think about it, for people's complaints that they're having about Ledger, about how, well, what if there's a backdoor put in and this and that or whatever, with a software wallet, you're doing the exact same amount of trust in the people that are doing their work there, and there's a whole other surface area of attack vectors that can happen that cannot happen with something like a secure element on a Ledger. So if you were affected by this, I'm really, really sorry to hear about it. If you weren't, this should be yet another set of alarm bells going off in your mind that it is time to get a hardware wallet and not keep any large amount of funds on software wallets. Keep in mind the normal kind of scam stuff that's going on. We see now that because of this scam that happened, or the hack that happened to the Atomic wallet, we now see these scams about people pretending to be support and stuff like that. So just, let's use our common sense here and things we've learned over the past few years and not fall prey. If you dodge the bullet on the wallet hack, please don't fall for one of these things and send anybody any of your information. Okay, cool. Oh, 9 a.m. Okay, so that's not a terribly crazy hour for you to join. Well, I appreciate you always joining. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and continue on. So next, similar kind of thing, along the same lines of, again, it's sort of like, let's call it our, I don't know, our online security sort of hygiene kind of thing. You may have seen this tweet from Pi about the recent, or lots of other people talking about bots and botting. I know Silobite was also asking, like, hey, what's all this going on with like bots and people complaining or whatever else. This thread I think here from the Cardano Times is a pretty good breakdown of what was going on. You may have seen some people that were asking questions about like, oh, people using bots or not using bots to buy things, and if it's ethical or not, and what's wrong with doing that. If somebody has the technical capacity to set automated buy and sell things, then why shouldn't they be able to do that? I think that this tweet by the Cardano Times, or this thread rather, really helps clarify what I think is the actual core issue here. And I'm not, and again, sort of what I was saying about this software wallet hack, where I'm not super concerned about the exact mechanics of how it happened. For me, it's just another reminder of don't leave a lot on software wallets. Make sure that you are using a hardware wallet and that you're sort of, doing your due diligence and never sharing things like your seed phrase. Similarly, for this here, I'm not so concerned with what the individual coin was or who the person was or the team or anything else. I mean, obviously, some of those names are in this thread, but that's not at all what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is the additional risk that we can put ourselves into when we let our emotions get the best of us, especially in some of these speculative meme coins. Like, I know like a lot of people get excited about meme coins and they always want to like talk about them, and they ask what my opinions are of them and stuff like that. And I always give very sort of like boring answers and say that like, hey, yeah, I don't know, if you want to have fun with that, go ahead, but I'm just not going to participate. This is the kind of stuff that happens though when you get into situations where people's emotions get so charged. And this is where I think the problem is with those bot kind of situations. What seems to have happened in this particular instance, and I think it happened a couple of times now, is, and let me see here. Here's where I was sort of like, found, okay, this is a problem. Is that this particular person knew that he was going to use his bot on the public launch of this token, but then before that, advised people in the Cardano Lounge server to use, and this is actually a separate issue that you shouldn't be doing, use the unlimited slippage feature on MinSwap. Okay, so slippage when you're doing a trade on a DEX is what percentage away from the price you're trying to get it at you're okay with. Dexes like MinSwap and some of these other ones, they default that to like 1 or 2 or up to like 5 or at most like 10%. There was people asking MinSwap and some of these other dexes like, hey, can you make that slippage higher so that my trade will go through and I don't really care what the price is? The problem with doing something like unlimited slippage, right, if you think about it, is that if the price moves really far away from where you were originally starting, the point of the slippage tolerance is to protect you from ending up at a price point that's significantly off from what you expected it to be. Like, let's say if you were planning on buying something just to make a number up here, just totally making up numbers. Let's say, for example, you have 100 ADA that you want to spend, and the thing that you're planning on buying costs 1 ADA. Now, if you set a slippage tolerance of, like, let's say 10%, you'll be willing to spend up to 1.1 ADA on that thing, right? At 1 ADA, if you wanted to spend the full 100, you were intending on getting, if the price is 1 ADA, you were intending on getting 100 of those tokens back. The problem with unlimited slippage is that if the price shoots up very quickly, which is specifically what can happen with a bot type situation where they're buying a lot of things really quickly, if the price shoots up really quickly, you have nothing stopping your order from going through at no matter what the price point is. So if you were thinking you were going to buy it at 1 ADA and get 100 of them for your full 100 ADA total, and instead the price shoots up, even just for a few seconds, or just 1 or 2 seconds, to 100 ADA, with unlimited slippage, your order will still go through. You'll pay 100 ADA for that trade you were trying to do. And instead of ending with 100 units at 1 ADA each, you'll end up with 1 unit at 100 ADA that you paid for it. And it might just crash right back down to the 1 ADA price point. So you need to be really, really careful about something like unlimited slippage. I think they added it because of like pressure of just sort of like degen people saying like, hey guys, come on, please add this. It is not a good idea. If you're using DEXs, it's not a good idea to do unlimited slippage. And that is compounded with, now that people are getting more and more sophisticated on their buys and sells using bots, this is where you can really get in trouble, where the prices can and do spike up to multiple orders, to higher multiples of what the price should be just for a few seconds, and then comes right back down. So the concern here, where I think this is a problem with this person, was that he knew he was going to use a bot for the launch. He told people to use the unlimited slippage feature so that, hey, just don't worry about it, get it at whatever price. And he was getting them excited about the coin, and he knew that he was going to be using the bot for that sale. So that, for me, is pretty troublesome, right? Let's take a look at this here. So, yeah, just go ahead and use unlimited. The warning is 75%. It's relative. You're not losing funds. You're just getting less of it because the price has already moved. Like, well, yes, but you can be getting significantly less, which is a problem, right? He says, yeah, there's no way to front run it. You just kind of like be able to like buy like everybody else. After they buy, they have to queue like everybody else. But yeah, but this is where I think the trouble is, because if you're telling people to, first of all, getting all really excited about the mint, so everybody's getting super pumped about, yeah, let's buy this thing. And then you're telling them, turn on unlimited slippage, so it doesn't matter where the price goes. So now they're super pumped, and they're putting themselves in a financially risky situation if something crazy were to happen to the price. And then on top of all of that, you know that you're about to use a bot that is going to get in faster than everybody and potentially might make the price go crazy. That, I think, is a very tricky ethical situation to be in, that I don't know, I do not think is a cool thing to do. But that being said, my point of all of this that I think is important for us to keep in mind is that these kinds of things don't generally happen if you're doing sort of the slow and steady approach of just, you know, buying a little bit of ADA or doing whatever, or staking and holding, whatever your own sort of approach is. But the more that you get into sort of this like really like euphoric sort of situations, the more trouble you can find yourself in. So guys, let's take it slow and steady. Let's put our attention and time into projects that you really believe in, and just not try and chase after things that are sort of like when moon. If you want sort of a write-up on the same sort of idea, there's a really good write-up by Pi talking about his personal thoughts on the botting drama. And again, talking about how everybody uses bots, and that's totally fine. But participating in the cycle of FOMO over tokens with no utility or value because it's fun and builds community is where people aren't making rational decisions. And that's where sort of things get crazy. So I will share this with you guys as well. But I just wanted to point this out that, like, for those that have been following the channel for a while, like, our whole thing here, right, is like slow and steady, and, you know, let's just make calm and deliberate decisions and grow our investments slowly and with confidence. So let's try and stay away from this kind of stuff. Okay, so with that, next, let's take a look at the results of the Cardano Foundation poll. So you can come to AdaStat and see where the poll is at now. The poll has ended, and we are now in the phase of reviewing the poll results. I was actually kind of surprised because we had, and I guess we'll take a look at this here. Now's a good time, I guess, to look at it. We had several people come over during the redelegation phase, and we definitely appreciate all those people coming over. And I think let's go ahead and start with that. I want to, let's go to studio mode here, and we do that, and stop and say a huge thank you and welcome to all of our newest delegators. I just want to say, like we always do, we truly appreciate your support, and we're so excited to be on this journey with you. Let's all keep growing together, and thank you so much for your support of the channel, both during this redelegation phase and in general, your continual support of Woodland Pools and the channel and the educational content that we put out there. And for those of you out there, if you want to support the channel, you know, the voting is over for this, but if you want to support the channel, the best way you can do so is by delegating to the ASPEN stake pool and join all of these awesome people that are now one of our, now let me close this out here and I'll show you guys. We are now up to, we are now up to just over 900 delegators. And for the first time ever, our active stake over 9 million. So thank you all again so much. And for everybody that's going to come on board at some point later, thank you in advance. And we will also do a sharing the screenshot of your delegation coming in as well. So, but with that, so let's take a look. I was kind of surprised to see this. John Kelly shared some good graphics here where you can see the before and after the redelegation phase. And we can see, there we go. Okay, so we can see here that, for example, keeping K at 500. Actually, let's take a look at this here. So the one that, for example, we voted on min pool cost to 170 and K to 1,000, right? And that's what like we talked about a lot. And so we can see here that that was at 5.7 billion and 4.42. And then after the redelegation, we see that this only went up to 4.45. And what was this one? Yeah, 5.7, and it went up to 5.72. So not a huge change, which is surprising to me because I personally saw quite a bit of traffic. And the problem with Pool.pm, as you saw, like, so all those that I showed on the screen were all within the last week. With Pool.pm, it only shows, like, it sort of filters out the smaller ones. Yeah, actually, you can see here. These are, oh, there we go. Yeah, so these are all the ones from the past week. So I saw quite a bit of traffic moving around, not just to our pool, but to others. So I'm surprised that the totals didn't seem to change that much. I think, you know, some people were saying, oh, well, this just means that delegators didn't participate. Rick McCracken on here somewhere made a good point, said, or people were just happy with the way that their stake pool operators voted. Either way, I think that if we look at the results of the poll and where it's at right now, if we group by parameter, we can pretty clearly see that keeping K at 500 beat out increasing K to 1,000, but a very clear indicator of cutting the min pool cost to 170 ADA. So I'm curious to see what the Cardano Foundation and other organizations, IOG and Emergo, end up doing with this information. But it seems like while this is kind of muddy, it is very, very clear by almost 2 billion ADA in vote delegation power that the community has said strongly they want to cut the min pool cost to 170 ADA. So again, what this means to you as a delegator is an immediate increase in your rewards. So yeah, let's see where that ends up going. So now then the question is, where do we go from here? And this is the original poll that came out, rather the article that was put out by the Cardano Foundation about the poll. And here's the section of things relative to where we are, relevant to where we are right now. The poll was published, the SPOs voted, you all as delegators redelegated as necessary, and now we are here where the snapshot is taken and they're going to make a report on their findings. This doesn't make it seem like they're planning on doing anything concrete. They say, until we enter Voltaire's full set of decentralized governance, a decision about which parameters to use and how to apply them falls to the combined responsibility of IOG, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation. And then they say how this is sort of a data gathering exercise and whatever else. So that doesn't make it sound like they're committing to do anything too strongly. But when Frederik, who is the CEO of the Cardano Foundation, was on Paul's channel, so a lot of you guys know Paul, he's a friend of the channel, and when he was on there, they were talking about what is going to happen after the poll. So the poll concludes. So let's go ahead and show this clip from Paul's channel. Let me make sure the audio is going to go through here, because we'll hear from Frederik himself, like what the plan is.
And then towards the relocation. And then after that, that goes into the protocol parameter committee, which is something we've been part of championing, which is a new setup where there basically is a committee with representatives from Imurgo, from IoT, from the Cardano Foundation, from the community, and from other developer groups. And there basically they will then receive the poll and the documentation behind that. And our hope is that they will basically say, yes, that's it. And then they would give a recommendation for us to do the protocol parameter update. So in this.
Yeah, so we see it there. So first I will say, let me give this a like, and I will say if you are not subscribed to Paul's channel, Cardano with Paul, you should subscribe. He's a very good dude and puts out a lot of really great content, including things like this interview with Frederik. So subscribe to Paul's channel if you are not. But yeah, so we hear there from Frederik himself that their intention is to collect all of this information in the poll, take the snapshot of how the voting went, and if there's any clear indication of results like there is here, that they are going to push on IOG and Imurgo to move forward with making protocol changes based on those results. So let's go ahead and see where this goes now. I know the community is going to be very closely following this and seeing like, hey, all right, guys, we were talking about it for 2 years. We kind of gave up on expecting anything to happen. Now all of a sudden you bring this conversation up again. Let's actually do something about it this time. So let's see where this goes. We'll keep you posted on where it goes from there. So yeah. Okay. Oh, you know what? I was hiding my here. Hey, what's going on? Mohammed, good to see you. All right. Cool. Where are we at on time? Perfect. So yeah, the next thing that I wanted to go over and to leave us on a light note here, for those that are fans of book.io, tomorrow there's actually, let's go here. So tomorrow we've got a really big mint going on that I'm really excited about. It's actually a really big deal. Mark Cuban is minting his book, How to Win at the Sport of Business. It's going to be on Polygon, but you can mint it on book.io, and book.io is a project that started on Cardano and is now on multiple chains. I work for Book. I think it's an awesome company. We're all working really hard for this and some other cool things we have coming up. But yeah, so Mark Cuban's actually an early investor in book.io, and for people that kind of say like, oh, you know, that a lot of the mints are all public domain stuff and whatever else. This is sort of a really clear example of how you can get a book that you can actually own from a living author with some cool custom artwork on the cover, potentially get yourself a unique one that is one of one that nobody else has. And then once Mint and Print goes live, you can print out and have your Mark Cuban book, which I think is really, really cool. So here was sort of a sharing of like the story of how the whole thing came together, how he became an investor, and some good lessons and takeaways by Ben that runs the book.io account. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that. So I want to make sure to share it with you guys. I think what I'll probably start doing is if there's any big announcements or big fun mints that are going on, I'll share them as well, just for those that are here from the OG Book Club. But yeah, so take a look at, keep a lookout for that. That will be minting, let's see here, 21 hours. So it's going to be 3 hours ago, 2:30. So it'll be roughly at about 4 o'clock Eastern or so. Let's see here. 20, so yeah, well, you know, do the math. I think it's at like 3 or 4 o'clock Eastern. Follow the book.io account and you'll be able to get the details of that as it's happening. All right, cool. So with that, I think we covered everything we wanted to go over. But again, I want to say to everybody, thank you so much to everyone that participated in the poll and joined us and was an active delegator and moved your stake around. If you thought that your opinion was differing from your stake pool operator, and for those of you that your vote was aligned with your stake pool operator, but you took the time to come and see how they voted to just reaffirm like, yep, I agree with my stake pool operator. Thank you all for being active delegators and being part of the Cardano ecosystem. This kind of stuff we're going to need to be able to voice sort of our thoughts and how we want things to move forward as we're getting ready to move into Voltaire. If you appreciate the work that we do here, the best thing you can do to support the channel is delegate to the ASPEN stake pool. And yeah, we will do this thing again 1 week from today on Monday at 11 p.m. UTC, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and 5 p.m. in warm, sunny Colorado. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye.